Hey guys, welcome back to another online lesson. This is lesson 1.2. We're going to talk about ratios. Let's dive into some words we should know. First one, the amount of something is called a quantity. So we're just going to start using the word quantity instead of saying how much is that. For example, if I have 3 pens, I have a quantity of 3. A ratio is a blank of 2 quantities by division. What we're doing with a ratio is we're going to compare. So, a ratio is a comparison of 2 quantities by division. So, the amount of 2 different things compared by division. Now, these kind of seem a little foreign right now, but once we dive into it, you'll understand it a whole lot more. So let's get started. Okay. Compare buttons to paper clips by writing a ratio. All right. So here I see 3 paper clips and 1 button. So what we're dealing with ratios, we're going to compare quantities of 2 different things. So the first thing I want to do is I want to look at what we're comparing. We're going to compare buttons to paper clips. Okay, no problem. Step 1, what I have to do is figure out what is my quantity of buttons. And I look and I see a quantity of 1. Okay, so we have 1 button, 2 paper clips. And what is my quantity of paper clips? 1, 2, 3. So I have a quantity of 3. Okay, step 2 is now we have to compare the quantities by division. And I'm going to show you 3 different ways to do it. First way is your traditional, almost like a fraction. Buttons to paper clips, 1 button, 2, 3 paper clips. And it looks like 1/3, but when we're talking about ratios, we read it as 1, 2, 3. Or there's another way to write it. 1 button, 2, 3 paper clips. Again, 1, 2, 3. Let me show you another way to write it. Or 1, 2, 3. Again, 1 button to 3 paper clips. What we just did is we wrote a ratio in 3 different ways, but they're all read the same. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1 to 3. Perfect. Now, the key with writing a ratio is, going back to the problem, it wants to know buttons to paper clips, meaning buttons have to come first, paper clips come second. 1 button to 3 paper clips. 1 and then 3, 1 and then 3. Okay, so that's the general idea. Now let's ramp it up a little bit. Okay. Okay, here's a little bit more of a complex problem. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to write a ratio in simplest form. Ooh, I'm going to need that. That compares the number of suns to the number of moons. And then we have to explain its meaning. But first, let's get down comparing the ratio in simplest form. So we are going to compare number of suns to number of moons. All right, so I'm going to put suns to moons. I do it in words first, so that way I can always remember, okay, we're going to do suns and then we're going to do moons. So let's go ahead and count our quantities. Let's start with suns. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 suns. Now let's count our quantity of moons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I have 6 moons. Perfect. Now, 4 to 6 is an okay ratio, but it asks us to write it in simplest form. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and reduce this fraction. 4 6, I think what number can go into both? 2. Divide both by 2. And 4 divided by 2 is 2. And 6 divided by 2 is 3. So therefore, my ratio of suns to moons is 2 to 3. So that part's done. Then explain its meaning. All right, this is where we got to use our words. So what does a ratio actually mean? So here's what it is. For every blank suns, there are blank moons. Okay? Notice I put suns first and then moons. So now we just have to fill in what those blanks are. For every 2 suns, there are 3 moons. Perfect. We just explained what the ratio means. Now, let's see what it is in real life. For every 2 suns, there are 3 moons. So if I cross off 2 suns, I should cross off 3 moons. For every 2 suns, I'll circle this one, circle this one. I should be able to circle 1, 2, 3 moons. Perfect. Our ratio is intact. Remember, simplest form, reduce the fraction, and when you explain, just write it out in words. Let me show you another example. Okay, here, oftentimes with ratio, you're dealing with data and charts. And here's one about ice cream. Okay. Several students named their favorite flavor of ice cream. Write the ratio that compares the number who chose vanilla to the total number of students. Okay, I broke it down in steps for us to follow. But first, let's look at our charts. We have flavor, chocolate, mint chocolate chip, vanilla, strawberry. Number of responses, 9 said chocolate, 8 mint chocolate chip, 3 vanilla, 1 strawberry. Good, let's use that information to fill out our steps. So step 1, what are we comparing? I go back to the question. We are comparing the number who chose vanilla to the total number of students, so we'll just say to the total. Okay. Step 2, we have to write it out, the ratio, and I'm going to choose to write it as a fraction, just because to me it's easier to reduce if we have to. So, I have to look, we're doing vanilla to the total, so let's find vanilla, boom, vanilla was 3. Now we have to find the total. Boy, it would have been nice if they gave us the total down here, so we might have to do a little math and let's add it up. Number of responses, 9, 8, 3, 1. We have to get the total. Let's do it. 9 plus 8 is 17, plus 3 is 20, plus 1 is 21. So my total is 21. 3 people chose vanilla. A total of 21 were surveyed. So there's our comparison. Now we have to do it in simplest terms. So step 3 is reduce. 3 to 21. I think what number can go into both evenly? 3 will work. So let's divide both sides by 3. And if you divide 3 by 3, you are at 1. And 21 divided by 3 is 7. So therefore, our ratio of students who chose vanilla to the total number of students is 1 to 7. Okay? I have a couple that I want you to try, and then bring them to class, and we'll start class with it tomorrow. Let me walk you through it. All right, here I have a similar problem to what we just did, except for instead of ice cream, we're just talking about pets in a pet store. So, a pet store sold animals listed in the table in 1 week. Write the ratio of cats to pets sold that week. All right, I'm going to set it up for you, and then I want you to find the fraction and then reduce. So, step 1, what are we comparing? Go back to the question. We are comparing cats to pets sold that week, okay? Cats to pets sold. And what pets sold is, that's just another way to say total. Okay? So step 2, write the fraction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say cats. Find how many cats were sold. That's going to be your numerator. Your denominator is going to be the total pets sold. Yeah, unfortunately I don't see a total, so you're going to have to do some adding. Get your total. And then reduce, and that will bring up your ratio of cats to pets sold. Again, try your best. If you have questions, bring them to class. We'll answer them. One more we got to try. We're talking money here. This time we're going to write a ratio as a fraction in simplest form. And then we have to explain its meaning. So what we're going to do is we're going to compare dollars to pennies. So keep in mind when you do your ratio, put dollars first and then pennies, then reduce it. After you do that, to explain its meaning, just fill in the blanks down here. Try your best. If you have any questions, bring them to class. We'll see you tomorrow.